And just like that, the Bears bye week is over. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Plenty to discuss here on a Monday afternoon as the Bears now get ready to play the Commanders on Monday Night Football. It's exciting to be back because not only were the Bears on bye week, in some sense I was as well. Had a wedding this weekend for my brother-in-law, so was out of the office for 3 or 4 days, but we're back. We're ready to go, and it still feels weird because we're still a week away. We'll still watch a full Thursday and Sunday slate of games, Cullen Brown, before the Bears play again. But it's going to be a big one. Bears-Commanders 1 week from today. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's good to be back in the old studio again. I've been a little lost without you, man. I mean, you work with somebody so consistently like me and Harry do, and then you go work with somebody else just like this. Just doesn't feel right. Feels weird.
Just different.
Just different. I was working with a bunch of different other hosts, but yeah, we're back in the saddle. Bears football is, well, a week away. I would say less than a week away, but as you mentioned, Monday Night Football.
Technically over a week away.
Yeah, technically, yeah, with the hours and the minutes. But yeah, I mean, it is. It's back. We got some storylines to go into this one. How do the Bears, follow up their first 4 weeks after coming out of the bye week? We're going to be breaking it all down today, and I'm excited to see some football.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm eager to see how the Bears play out of the bye week after a uneven first few weeks, to say the least, but found a way to get to 2-2 in a very crowded NFC. I mean, just looking at the NFC right now, Colin, I mean, the only teams that to me are just flat out bad are the Panthers, Saints, and Giants, and at times even those teams have shown life. Carolina hammered the Falcons a couple weeks ago, came back against Miami yesterday. The Saints in 4 out of 5 of their games have been competitive and won yesterday. And the Giants beat the Chargers a couple weeks ago. We know their pass rush is capable of winning a game. So it's very crowded. This is the list of teams in the NFC with either 1 or 2 losses. It's 12 teams. The Eagles, Niners, Bucks, and Lions are all 4-1. The Packers are 2-1-1. The Seahawks, Vikings, Commanders, and Rams are 3-2. The Falcons and Bears are 2-2, and the Cowboys are 2-1. And then you have Arizona and Carolina at 2-3. So 1 through 14 in the NFC are within 2 games of each other. So it is a very deep conference. And I would say much stronger from top to bottom than the AFC this year, at least so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's anybody could beat anybody in the NFC. I don't think you're ever going to get a really, let's call it easy matchup. Even like you even mentioned, like if you want to say Carolina, New York, and New Orleans are the 3 lowest teams, Spencer Rattler's look good this year, man. Kellen Moore's
solid, yeah.
The Saints look, formidable as an offense. Bryce Young, again, I mean, they came back and won against Miami yesterday, and again, Miami's not been the greatest team or whatever, but I mean, they've got a kind of a never quit thing, and then yeah, the Giants with Jackson Dart, and if Cam Scadaboo doesn't have multiple or will have that fumble yesterday, could that game have possibly changed? So I mean, it's loaded in the NFC. It really is.
Arizona had one of the most embarrassing losses of all time yesterday, but they're 2-3, and all 3 of their losses are on last-second field goals by the other team. And that's the tied for 3rd worst team in the NFC based on record. So, it's very deep. And, if you're going to be a playoff team, you're probably going to have to get to at least 10, I would guess. I just think there's going to be – I think teams like 5 through 11 in the NFC, it's probably going to be within a couple of games, I would guess, somewhere between 7 and 10 wins. So, it's going to be nip and tuck the whole way. Few super chats rolling in coming off the bye week. We appreciate it. Sitch Lover, Poles is the guy that puts a $5,000 sound system in a car that has no tires, wheels, or engine. Can't run, stop the run, no D-line, and no left tackle. We're back. We've emphasized for the last couple weeks they can't run the ball and they can't stop the run. Now, I think there are some things that can be improved upon with the players they have. I find it hard to believe that a Ben Johnson coached offense is going to be this poor at running the football for 17 games. Now, We know Swift has his limitations. I think the run blocking or the run game identity / scheme is still, they got to kind of decide, are they more of a gap team or a wide zone? We've kind of seen both, and I think the personnel they have is better suited for a wide zone offense, especially if Swift is going to be the lead runner. So they got to figure that out. But yeah, I mean, look, left tackle is a question mark, not only right now but long term, and they clearly don't have enough game records on their defensive line. So not going to argue with you there. Dennis, my last super chat until the government shutdown blows over. LOL. Have you heard the rumors about trading for Jeffrey Simmons? Trade DJ for him. What's the cost? I actually had a YouTube comment, a couple of those, and then a couple DMs. So we're going to hit that in our mailbag right off the rip. But, yeah, the Simmons thing is interesting. You know, again, Colin, you're starting to get to that point in the season where, like, all right, who are the bad teams? Who are some good players they could consider trading? So those rumors will start to fly. Jeffrey Simmons is a badass. I'd rather have an upgraded edge, but I don't know. If you brought in a guy like him and put him next to Montez Sweat, could that, like, reinvigorate Sweat? Like, if you went Sweat, Simmons, Jervon Dexter, and Dio Adangbo with guys like Booker, Grady Jarrett, and a couple other guys rotating in. I mean, it's better than what you currently have, that's for sure. But I don't know. We'll see. I'd be surprised if they traded for a Jeffrey Simmons, but we'll dive into it further as we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether they will or won't, but to be honest, if it were me, I wouldn't. I mean, you've already got a loaded defensive tackle room as it is. Like, you need to get pressure off the edge. And again, I hear the argument
if you're trading for Simmons, are you kind of like, are you letting Dexter walk in like a year and a half from now? Like, I'm not saying like Jervon Dexter's a reason to not get Jeffrey Simmons, but like, you've committed resources to that position. And I know you have an edge too. That's the frustrating part about edge. If you want to get back to the Ryan Poles thing, Montez Sweat making $25 million per year, not living up to the billing. Now, look, they traded for Sweat. He played awesome. When they first gave him that money, he was playing like that. So, like, I'll defend Poles a little there. It's like, is it his fault that Sweat has just fallen off a cliff here? Like, I don't know, because after they traded for him, Cullen, he was unbelievable, like, to finish that year. And then last year, he kind of plays through a foot thing, okay. This year, doesn't look like the same guy. It's just, you know, I'm not trying to be Poles' defender guy. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think that one is a little more defensible. The Adangbo thing, look, that was we think his best football is ahead of him move, but I always get nervous with those type of moves because how often when you say his best football is ahead of him, does like that actually happen? Like,
I am very anti, betting on somebody's development unless they are a, draft prospect.
Yeah, it's one thing coming out of college, like traitsy guy. But even then, I think Poles leans a little too much on traits. It's like...
Yeah, but at least then you can understand it's like, all right,
get him with NFL coaching, into an NFL conditioning program, all that. Yeah. But like Adangbo, it's like, yeah, he's been in the NFL 4 years, and he's been fine. He's a solid player, but he's not a $16 million per year guy. So...
Yeah, to me, like, I'll throw this name out there again, and we mentioned the Saints earlier. Carl Granderson seems like a move that, Chicago could and should make. He's got the history of Dennis Allen. It adds to that edge room. Again, we'll see what it looks like with Austin Booker. This honestly will be a good telltale because, I mean, obviously you're going up against Laramie Tunsil coming up on Monday Night Football. But I don't think Washington's offensive line is really, I guess, one of the elite of the elite, I should say. And, they're obviously Sam Cosmi.
Tunsil is.
Yeah, but, I mean, if I'm Chicago, let's see if we can get pressure again. Like, this to me, again, this is kind of another way of reevaluating not only the rushing attack, but also, how you defend the run and also after you get after the passer. So,
yeah, I mean, if Jaden's just sitting back there having a picnic, that's not a great sign. That's for sure. Bears goated. So crazy how things changed so fast after Week 2 Bears season was over. Packers are everyone's Super Bowl pick. Both have drastically changed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a couple things. One, the NFL is very much a week-to-week league. I mean, the Bills lost the Patriots last night. I think the Patriots are pretty solid, but I don't think people are waking up today picking the Patriots to win the Super Bowl over the Bills. We mentioned that Cardinals-Titans game. I mean, one of the more improbable losses you'll ever see from Arizona. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, Denver scores 18 unanswered in the fourth quarter to beat Philly. Like, it's just a weird. I mean, the Ravens are in shambles right now with their injuries.
Chargers are on a downward spiral.
Yeah, they've lost a couple in a row. Hampton just went to IR. Like, they're kind of in shambles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wish the Browns would have finished the Vikings off. That would have been helpful, but,
They almost did. TJ, Arizona's a joke after that loss.
I mean, that was a Bears-esque loss. It really was. You cannot lose that game in those circumstances.
Cannot do it.
Can't happen. Cornelius, why do players keep dropping the ball at the goal line right before they score a touchdown? All I know is no Bears player better do this. If I was Ben Johnson, and I bet all 32 teams did this, you show that play in front of the whole room, and this is what you do. You say, guys, this team, what we do, we sprint through the end zone with the ball, and you don't drop the ball until you cross the back line of the end zone. That's how I would teach it. You can celebrate all you want. Just run the extra 10 yards out of the back of the end zone and then celebrate. It's not like you're not going to be allowed to celebrate if you take those 3 extra strides. That's how I would teach it. Hey, the way we do it here is we sprint through the back of the end zone, and then we spin the ball, hand it to the right, whatever. I don't punt it into the stands. I don't care. But he pulls up, starts jogging. Snead's about to catch him, and then he just has the ball in one hand. He just flips it out right at the goal line, and you're just like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah, I mean, everyone remembers the infamous Deshaun Jackson touchdown gaffe that he had while he was in Philly. And again, like, it's never okay for a player to, do that because it's so infuriating. It's a touchback. It kills a big play, all that stuff. I mean, if you're Imari DiMercato, like, pulling this off, I mean, A.D. Mitchell.
You cannot afford to do that.
You can't. Not in this league. Like, if you want to have a job, you cannot afford to do that. A.D. Mitchell, again, really nice player coming out of Texas, and he had the chance to, score his first touchdown, pulls that crap. It's like, I never understand what's the appeal of just like, oh, you made it you're as you cross the end zone just flipping it up. Like,
I do think, and again, I'm not defending it at all. I do think, especially for these guys like this who have either never scored a touchdown or have a small role in the league, I do think there's probably this blackout moment of when you break a play and you're like, oh my God, I'm about to have this big touchdown. But again, just like, you got to focus for 3 extra seconds, not even 2, 1 extra second. And it's an epidemic. You see it. It's happened twice this year already. We're in week 5. I mean, that's 40% of the weeks in the NFL you're seeing it. So it's just bad, man. I mean, I don't know how firm you have to be when you teach it to your players, but like, I'd just be like, look, if you do that, you're inactive the next week. I don't know how else you get through to guys because that's unacceptable, man. Posey, I really hate saying this, but Washington looks really good. I really hope we get up for this game. Daniels went up against LA and destroyed their defense. Hate to say it, but he's the best in that class so far. I'll be honest, Posey, and this is not me like tearing down Jaden Daniels. I kind of thought he was average yesterday. Now, the touchdown he threw at the end of the game to completely ice the game, special play, drift. Throws a floater to the corner of the end zone, perfect ball. Had the nice deep ball to McCaffrey, but he barely completed 50% of his pass. I actually did not come out of that game thinking he played awesome. Now, he made some timely plays. I thought Washington's defense played really well and made some timely plays in that game. Now, as far as who's been the best out of that class through 21 games, yeah, you would say Jaden. I would say this year you'd probably say May, actually. I do think, though, that the big 3 coming out are starting to kind of separate. I know, Nix you would probably throw into the mix, but I think most people would say his ceiling is lower than the top 3 guys of Jaden, Drake, and Caleb. But I think this year May's been the best. Caleb's been the second best. Jaden's missed a couple games, but he's still been pretty good. Nix has been up and down, but yeah, I think the Bears will get up for this game, but Jaden hasn't been, like, awesome this year. Like, he certainly has not played as well as he did last year. So now Terry McLaurin was also out. We'll see if he plays this week. But yeah, I don't view that as like some QB matchup that you can't like win. I think there's absolutely a world where Caleb outplays Jaden on Monday. Like, I think he's been better than him this year, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Chargers they were, like I said, they've been kind of free falling the last 2 weeks. And Jaden, again, he's healthy, he's wearing the brace, or healthy-ish, I should say. He's wearing the brace and everything. And look, I think to me, like, I'm really interested in seeing if TJ Edwards is going to be healthy this week. Now, again, they had the bye week. How healthy is he going to be? You trust Noah Sewell and all that kind of stuff. But you kind of highlighted, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure, more throughout the show, Harry. Like, Washington loves running the football. And the Bears, not great at defending it. I think he could be kind of an X factor this upcoming week, not only against Washington's rushing attack, but also just kind of like a guy that can hang around the line of scrimmage, kind of maybe keep an eye on Jaden Daniels. Again, especially if Jaden's not at 100%, to where, again, with his instincts, could he make a difference in Chicago's front seven in this matchup? And look, I think Jaden, he hasn't played, to your point, at the level that he was last year.
He's still really good. Like,
Still
I'm not,
really
I'm not
good.
diminishing
He's
the
still
player,
really good.
but
He's still really good.
I'm more just responding to this. I don't view that Commanders-Chargers game as like a Jaden Daniels masterclass. I think he managed the game well, didn't make mistakes.
Yep.
Herbert throws the big pick in the end zone. And, Washington ran wild. Krosky Merritt averaged 8 yards a carry. I mean, if that happens against the Bears, you're not going to win. So see what happens. TJ, also, the Raiders look worse than last year. Yeah, it's bad, man. Thank God the Bears won that game. Now, again, the NFL is week to week. I think the Raiders and Bears, that was an empty the tank game for both. So I'm not surprised that loss turned into an embarrassment loss the next week for the Raiders. I did not see 40-6 coming, though. That is rough sledding. Geno's not playing well. Their defense is a joke outside of Crosby. It's tough look, man. Tough look. All right, if you want the Bears to get revenge on the Commanders, let's get the Bear Downs going in the chat. Let's go. Let's go.
It's a big week. I mean, this is a game that could potentially define a season, especially after, obviously, what happened last year. And, look, I think you nailed it this morning, Harry, in the video that we put out. It doesn't have to be a 100% execution game, but it like damn better well be a 110% effort game.
I mean, think about everything, like just all the angles heading into this game. You're coming off a bye week, 15 days between games. You should just be juiced to play another game regardless of the opponent, early bye week. Prime time, Monday Night Football. Oh, and by the way, it's the team that you lost to on a Hail Mary on a coaching and Tyreek Stevenson fuck-up, and you lost the next 9 games. Like, the Caleb Jaden, like, if you're not motivated for this game, I don't know how. This is about as high of an intensity game, regular season game you can have outside a divisional game, I would think. Prime time, off the bye week. Huge game in the NFC pecking order. Like, if you win, you leapfrog Washington in the wild card kind of pecking order. Motivation from last year, number 1 versus number 2. Like, there's so many things that, like, it's not a must-win game necessarily, but it's we better not come out of that game feeling like you left something on the table, because like that would just be ridiculous. Now, effort's never optional in the NFL, but like you should be balls to the walls in this game. Like you should want this more than they do. And I know that's kind of one of those cliche, like silly things to say, but this should be a game that you were just trying to do everything you can to win it.
I think, like, and I know we've talked about it as kind of a negative for the Bears so far this season. I kind of almost want them to have a few, like, penalties where they're kind of over-anxious, like they're overzealous trying to, like, I don't know, maybe they're, on the kickoff or something, maybe they go a little crazy or whatever the case may be. Like, I almost want to see, like, just too much energy to where Ben Johnson's got to, like, settle them down to a point. And, like, as you mentioned, like, this is a huge game, and it should be a huge game for Chicago. And your hope as a fan is that, the players come out there and play like it. I mean,
if you win this game, like, there are very winnable games coming up. Saints come to your building, Baltimore is decimated. Cincinnati looks like a joke without Joe Burrow. You win this game, it could propel you. It could propel you. So we'll see. I mean, it's not going to be easy. Washington's a good team, but you were right there with them last year and had a chance to win. So see what happens. All right, hit the like button. We got over 430 people watching here on a Monday. Got plenty to get into here on today's show. So if you want to help us out, get more Bears fans in here, hit the like button to kind of spread the word on YouTube for Bears fans. That would help us out. We appreciate it. Here's what we got coming up live here on the channel. Wanted to explore Ben Johnson coming off a bye week. He's obviously been the Lions offensive coordinator the last 3 years, so I wanted to dive into how his offenses performed off of a bye week in Detroit and see if that can carry over into Chicago here. We will take your questions, hashtag Bears or Super Chat. If you Super Chat, guaranteed to get on the show, hashtag Bears. We'll get to some of those questions as well. And then could the Bears trade for Breece Hall soon? Should they try to pursue that route? The run game problems have been well documented, so and Breece Hall made some interesting comments after yesterday's game. So wanted to dive into that a little bit as well. Plenty to get into here on a Monday. Let's get it rolling here on Chicago Bears Now. Could the Chicago Bears surge after the early bye week? We're going to talk about that here on Bears Now by Chat Sports. My name is Harrison Graham. We're going to explore Ben Johnson and how his offenses the last 3 years performed after the Lions bye weeks. And then we'll kind of compare heading into Washington off the bye week this year versus last year under Shane Waldron and what happened. And hopefully Ben Johnson can do a better job in that regard. But first, we are closing in on 133,000 subscribers. If you want free and daily Bears content, all you got to do is hit the subscribe button. We're less than 500 subs away from our next milestone. We've challenged the Commanders Report in a subscriber battle this week. So if you want to take them down off the field so they can win on the field, let's make it happen. Hit that subscribe button. All right, Ben after the bye week. So his first year as the offensive coordinator in Detroit, the Lions had an early bye week, and they lost 24-6. So you're probably saying, oh, God, that doesn't look good. And, yeah, it certainly wasn't great, but a little misleading. And let's kind of dive into the data here. 195 yards passing once you take out sacks. These are team stats. Jared Goff actually went 21 of 26 in that game, so an efficient performance. The problem is he threw 2 interceptions and fumbled twice, and the team had 5 turnovers as a whole. Rushed for over 115 yards. 312 total, so not a bad performance. I think 300 plus is average to above, a little above average. 5.6 yards per play. From a just moving the ball standpoint, it was fine. The problem is they gave the ball away 5 times. And we know in this league, if you turn over the ball a lot, it just kills you. You can't turn the ball over that much and expect to win a game. So, yeah, you only scored 6 points, but over 300 yards, it's a game you should at least be in the high teens, early 20s in terms of points. So, not like it was a complete disaster. Ben Johnson isn't throwing the interceptions for Jared Goff, certainly. Also, another important kind of reminder in the context of this was Ben's first year as the play caller. And remember, that was the year the Lions started 1-6. At the time, they were 1-5. They finished 9-8. So really the rest of the year, the offense took off, got cleaner. Goff got a lot more comfortable. They were running the football well with Jamal Williams, of all people. This was before they had Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, and they surged to a 9-8 record. So even though it wasn't the best performance, it was still there were signs there, and they cleaned things up and got better the rest of the season. All right, 2023, this is the year they went to the NFC Championship game, won a shootout over Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Shout out Brandon Staley, who was the head coach at the time. 41-38 in Los Angeles. And the offense just went nuclear out of the bye week. 333 yards passing, 200 rushing, 533 total, 8.3 yards per play. You're almost getting a first down on every play, and 0 turnovers. Just a complete clinic off of the bye week that year. I mean, you want to talk about an X's and O's mismatch game. Ben Johnson versus Brandon Staley. That's a big advantage, Ben Johnson. But that was obviously a very, very good game. And again, by then they're rolling, but you take advantage of the bye week and you exploit a bad defense in Los Angeles. All right, 2024, 47-9 win at Dallas. So the team you lost to 24-6 off the bye 2 years prior, you beat 47-9. You look at the balance here again, pass and run, almost 500 total yards, 7.5 yards per play. Again, year 3 in the offense, 0 turnovers as well. So what do you make of all this? I would say in general, Ben Johnson had good game plans. The first year in the offense, turnovers were a killer. The skill talent wasn't quite as good, but you would trust Ben Johnson with the extra time to put together a good game plan against Washington this week. And also an interesting common theme here, all 3 of those games on the road, just like the Bears game this week. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence or what, but they were ready to play in those road games, and I would think that this team will be ready to play. Now, you wonder, is this going to be more like the first year of Ben calling plays in Detroit where, maybe you do some good things, but mistakes hold you back? We'll see. I think this offense and this team right now going into week 6 are in a better place than they were in week 6 that first year in Detroit. It sounds weird to say because by the end of the year, that offense was awesome. But remember, it's a tale of 2 seasons. 1-6 start, 8-2 finish, 9-8 overall. The Bears are 2-2, and the offense really from week 2 on has kind of been pretty solid overall. So you just never know. New team, different situation. He's the head coach. It's hard to compare, but I think in general, you give Ben Johnson extra time, you feel pretty good about what the game plan's going to be. Obviously, the player's got to go execute it. All right, who you got in this game? Type CHI for the Bears. Type WAS for the Commanders. Who do you think wins? And if you want to tell me why that team wins, go ahead and let me know. All right, coming up. So, will the Bears play well out of the bye week? We'll compare how they played out of their bye week last year and kind of talk about how they need to play coming out of the bye week this year as they face the same opponent off the bye week, the Washington Commanders. But first, we got to tell you about our awesome sponsor. That, of course, is Prize Picks. Daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. How do you play Prize Picks, you ask? Well, it's very simple. You pick 2 to 6 player lineups, more or less on the stat projections available, and you're good to go. And if you hit on your lineups, you win money, up to 2,000 times your money on certain lineups with Prize Picks. A cool feature on Prize Picks is you can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner of Prize Picks, or just someone whose lineup or picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. For tonight, little Monday night action. I got a 3-player lineup. I like Isaiah Pacheco to go more than 29.5 rushing yards. He's struggled this year, but that's a low number. I like the more on that one. Trevor Lawrence, I do think he throws at least 1 touchdown pass. Goblin play there to throw for more than half a touchdown. And then Demon play to kind of even it out there. Tougher to hit, but I do think Xavier Worthy could find the end zone tonight as he is Patrick Mahomes' top target currently. 3-player lineup. Check it out right now. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, can the Bears reverse course? Obviously, at the end of the game, the Bears were in position to win, and in the fourth quarter, the offense played well. But for the most part, the offense really struggled against Washington in that game out of the bye week a year ago. So much so that you were like, God, this team just feels underprepared despite having the extra time. 105 yards passing. Again, that factors in sacks. 202 rushing. Now, that was skewed a little bit. That's obviously a huge number. Remember, Swift broke that long one. Caleb had a couple of nice scrambles, but they did run the ball well in that game. 307 total. So all in all, not horrendous. 5.3 yards per play is, solid. Just the 1 turnover, but skewed in the sense that you only had 172 yards for the first 3 quarters, and about 50 of those were on a DeAndre Swift long touchdown run. So you take that out. A lot of 3-and-outs, a lot of clunkiness, especially passing-wise. Caleb Williams really struggled through the first 3 quarters. I expect Ben Johnson to have a better game plan than Shane Waldron. Now, again, it's not necessarily Shane Waldron's fault that Caleb had a very inaccurate game overall. But how many times last year are you just like, oh, 3 receivers are in the same area. This route concept makes no sense. It just felt like out of the bye, way too clunky, not a sound plan. And then they came to life in the fourth quarter, but it was too little too late. Obviously, Caleb had a very uneven performance. Was great in the fourth. I think 6 for 8 in the fourth quarter after starting 4 for 16 in that game. But overcame, took the late lead, and that's kind of when we started to say, okay, Caleb's got a little it factor, clutch gene to him, even if these games are a little up and down overall. Obviously, that's carried over this year, but it's been a little more consistent throughout the 4 quarters, obviously. So not only do I expect Ben to just have a better and more sound game plan, and obviously just better designs, play calling, all that stuff, which we've seen, but I also expect Caleb to play better. Like I think he's going to do better than 10 for 24. I don't think he's going to start 4 for 16. I mean, that is just abysmal. So don't forget, too, though, before the bye week last year, like it was alarming that Caleb played that poorly. Caleb, granted, the opponent's not good, Carolina and Jacksonville, but still threw for 530 yards and 6 touchdowns against just 1 pick in those 2 games prior. I remember doing a video like the Bears have a quarterback, and then he just came out flat. The offense wasn't playing in sync against Washington. So I just think Caleb's a little more dialed in, a little more focused. He said last week he's only taking 1 day off during the bye week. He's going to be locked in and, studying, getting his body right, all that stuff. So I just think this team feels like a more mature team. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but I think overall they'll come in more focused and with more determination to play better out of the bye week, especially offensively, where there were some clear struggles in this game, and that carried over to the next several weeks as they obviously lost a bunch of games there. Okay, what is your confidence level in the Bears this year coming off the bye week? Because there's been some poor performances in the past. Scale of 1 to 10. I feel pretty good. I'm not saying they're going to win. I did predict them to win 26-24, but I do think it will be better, and it's a huge opportunity, man. It is a huge opportunity for the Bears in this game, because if they beat Washington here on Sunday, there's a lot of winnable games coming up. This is kind of one of those 50-50, 45-55 games that, like, you got to win enough of these games to be a playoff team. Kind of like Minnesota week 1, kind of a coin flip game, right? You got to win those more often than you lose them if you want to be a playoff team. Well, you win this one, you're 3-2, then look at the next 6 games. Saints at home. I know they're feisty, but that's a team you should beat. At the Ravens, Lamar might be back by then, but they have a lot of guys that are banged up right now. I can't imagine they're all going to be back. It's still probably going to be a dog in that game if a couple guys come back, but that's more winnable than it was when the schedule came out. At the Bengals, Joe Burrow's not playing. They look like a mess. We'll see how they look in a few weeks, obviously. Giants at home. I mean, is Brian Dable still the coach by then? Who knows? At the Vikings, I think we all believe that this team can beat the Vikings. Like, they should have beat them in week 1. And the Steelers at home, I know they're 3-1, but, like, I'm not terrified of the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers is just fine at 41 years old. Their defense has played better the last couple weeks, but has not been dominant like many expected. So, if you could get to 3-2, I think 4 out of 6 in that 6-game stretch is very doable. Then all of a sudden, you're 7-4. Heading into the final stretch where you have the Eagles, the Packers twice, the Lions, the 49ers, tough stretch. But if you can get to 7-4, the path to the playoffs becomes real. So this is a huge game, man. And how you play, how you prepare out of this bye week can really determine a lot, not only in this game but moving forward. So I trust Ben to have the boys ready. Whether or not they execute, we'll have to find out. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're going to be here every step of the way this season, getting you ready for this upcoming matchup against the Washington Commanders, so don't miss out. Don't forget to subscribe. See you guys soon. All right, scale of 1 to 10, 10 being very confident.
I see DC says 7, Sir Dobbs 6.5, Chris with a 9, Walter with an 8. What up, Walter? Savage Gorilla says 12.
Let's go, Savage.
Love that. Soldier Bear says 100. Love
Let's
that.
go, Soldier Bear. 4 or 5 historically. Yeah, we got Ben Johnson now, Jacob. Let's raise that a couple notches.
They should be confident. Like, if you're, I'm not saying for the fan base, but like the Bears themselves, I feel like they've been playing their best ball
They
right before
hammered.
the bye week.
They hammered Dallas. They get what Ben Johnson called a character win in Vegas. I get it, the Raiders stink, but that was an empty the tank game for both teams. You get that win. You're off the bye week now. Some key guys should be coming back. Let's go. Let's go let it rip. Go let it rip. TJ, Monday night, who you got? I like the Chiefs tonight. I think we're going to be waking up tomorrow, Colin, and the conversation's going to be, well, the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC again.
Again.
I mean, if they win tonight, you're telling me Chiefs-Bills in a playoff game, who you picking? Because I know who I'm picking.
Yeah. And again, the Bills coming off their first loss of the season, obviously.
Ravens are in shambles.
There'll be a lot, and then you're, getting Rasheed Rice. I was about to say Xavier Worthy.
Rice comes back soon.
Like
defense has slowly been playing better.
Yeah.
You figure Josh Simmons by the end of the year is going to be really good.
Yeah.
The thing for them is they got to find a somewhat formidable running game.
They do. They are
kind of like the Bears. I mean, they're better than the Bears, obviously. But
I was going to say they're similar to Chicago in that regard. The thing is I would expect. I'm blanking on their name. Their 7th round rookie that they drafted out of TCU.
SMU. Brashard Smith. I think he's going to get some more run. I look for him to be kind of like their late season kind of just boost at the running. I do think his role will increase. I don't know if that's. I don't think he's a guy though you're ever giving turning around and handing the ball.
No, not a bell cow, but in terms of giving them some juice.
5 to 10 carries, 3 to 5 catches a game, something like that.
I
try
think,
to find him 8-10 touches a game.
Yeah, I think he's SMU. I think he's going to be a really big difference maker. Maybe he gets some run tonight. Who knows? But, I think he's going to be really good for them, and that could be the juice they need. And, again, once you get Rasheed Rice back, Hollywood as a 3, with Xavier Worthy, it doesn't matter how old Travis Kelce is.
Tyquan Thornton?
Thornton's
he's just your speed demon number 4.
They're not even really using Jalen Royals, who they just drafted, either. So
yeah, he's not really playing much. Juju as a 5, he's just kind of a reliable, he's good for a couple big catches a game, it feels like. Just kind of does the dirty work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they get if Rice is back and, looks like the Rasheed Rice we saw before the injury and the suspension. Even Kelce, he's not the Kelce of old, but, it still seems like he makes a couple catches a game where it's hey, he's still got something. It's not like he's not completely washed. He's not going to go for 10 for 150, but, he's going to catch anywhere from 3 to 6 balls a week, and a couple of them are going to be key third downs. He still has a role. And once they get their Rice back and he's the third guy or whatever, it's okay, that's a good role for him at this stage in his career. Kind of like Ertz in Washington. It's he's not what he was 5 years ago, but you look up, it's he had 700 yards, 8 touchdowns, still pretty good. So,
yeah. No, I agree. Andres. Really interesting how the season plays out, changes our perception on certain ranges. I would have thought the Bengals and Ravens game would be brutal on our defense, but I certainly don't think so anymore.
Look, if Lamar's playing, that's still a tough game. Lamar is a nightmare to prepare for, but yeah, regardless, even if Lamar plays, they're going to have some key guys out, and their defense, the Bears should be able to score on Baltimore. I don't think with the injuries and just even when they were healthy with their struggles, I don't imagine the Ravens' defense is going to be completely resolved in 3 weeks. So, yeah, I thought when the schedule came out, that game and the Eagles game on Black Friday, short rest, were the 2 toughest games on the schedule. And I'm not calling that Ravens game easy now, but I wouldn't call it the toughest game on the schedule. I think, who knows? Was Detroit Week 2 the toughest game you're going to play this year? Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot last year. We always overreact to the schedule, but when you play, the circumstances, it really matters. It really matters. So you're catching some of these teams at the right time potentially. So we'll see if they can take advantage of it. Dennis, hot take: NFC way better than the AFC. I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's the right take. The Colts are the number 1 seed in the AFC. They're a legitimate team right now, but is anyone picking them to go to the Super Bowl? the Bills are good, but their defense kind of stinks. I'm not buying the Steelers. I think the Chargers, when healthy, are good, but like,
Are they going to be healthy?
are they going to be healthy? I think in the end, it's going to be probably the Chiefs again. And the Chiefs are the Chiefs, but I don't think this will – if the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl this year, it won't be one of their better teams.
No.
You know what I mean?
Last year's team was better than this team.
Yeah, and last year's team was flawed. You know what I mean? Like, they won a bunch of tight, ugly games. I actually think Mahomes is playing better this year than he was last year.
I agree with that.
So that's – if he's playing like his MVP level self, that can erase some deficiencies you have. So
I would agree.
TJ, if Illinois beats Ohio State, is there still a path? Yes. If Illinois beats Ohio State, they are firmly in the playoff picture. In today's college football, you lost by 50 in the old system. That probably eliminates you, but 12 teams make it. You have a win over Ohio State on your resume. Yeah, that outweighs a 50-point loss to Indiana, believe it or not.
If you're a Power 4 team and you have only 2 or less losses, one loss, you're pretty much a guarantee to get in. If you have 2 or less, you're damn near a loss.
If Illinois beats Ohio State this weekend, the rest of their schedule, at Washington, Rutgers and Maryland at home, at Wisconsin, Northwestern at home, you're going to be at Washington's probably your toughest game left. If you get through that game, 11-1 with the win over Ohio State, not only are you a lock, you're probably getting a home game in the first round, I would guess. And you might be able to afford a second loss in there and still get in. Because a win over Ohio State is going to be one of the best wins in the country this year. So, yeah, listen, the Indiana game was a disaster, but 4 starters in the secondary were out. That game just unraveled. It was on the road. You beat Ohio State. They're ranked 17th. I don't know where they ranked if they beat Ohio State. Probably between 8 and 11.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You're going to vault up a lot if you win this game. Now, the question is, can you lose this game, win out, and get in? I actually think a 10-2 Illinois would be kind of weak because you would lose by 50 to Indiana and you would lose to the only other high level team you play. Now, you beat USC at home. If they were to win a bunch of games, is that enough? I don't know. It does kind of feel like you have to win this game. So, we'll see. All right, #Bears Super Chat. Get your questions answered on the show. We will answer your questions. Someone in the chat says Miami winning the Natty. You could argue they've been the best team this year.
I'd still pick Ohio State on a neutral field.
I probably would too.
I think
been there, done that.
It's just I just think athlete-wise. Now again, Ruben Bain, stud. I think Ohio State on the perimeter with Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith playing the way they're playing. If Julian Sayin can just
continue to improve,
they could be one of the better teams, just period.
Yeah, and Sayin has kind of under the radar played really well this year. This will be a good test because, again, I think that Illinois-Indiana game was kind of fluky. Not that they lost, but how bad they lost. If Illinois is mostly healthy, I still think that's a pretty good defense. So I'm curious to see how Ohio State looks this week.
I am too.
Big Noon's there. That's a big you could argue it's the biggest home game in Illinois football history.
Yeah.
So that's not going to be an easy environment for Ohio State. So,
and I like Miami. Miami's really solid.
They addressed their secondary in the portal, so I do think they can at least challenge. Last year, that secondary against Smith and Tate, no chance.
Right.
But this year, I think they can at least battle.
Who's their slot receiver that's been really doing well for him? He's Beck's favorite target.
See the one-handed catch in week 1 guy? His name's
he's been really solid for them.
Isn't it CJ something?
Something. I'm blanking on the name, but I didn't know if you knew off the top of your head. He, to me, he's their one true playmaker on offense. Now he plays in the slot, so he can kind of.
I'll find it here.
I think. Look, Beck. I think if you won't even say Beck over Sayin, that's fine right now with the way Beck's been playing.
C.J. Daniels.
Yeah.
Malachi Toney too.
Malachi Toney. That's who I was thinking of. Excuse me.
They have 8 touchdowns combined.
Yeah. I think we'll see. I can't quite fully buy into Miami yet, but
The reason I think they have a real shot this year is because unlike last year, they have a real defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's like a top 5 or a top 25, but last year it was, I don't know, was it the 85th best? Cam Ward carried that team.
Yeah, I mean
you put Cam Ward on this team. Like Beck's been good, but you put last year Cam Ward on this team.
Yeah,
they are the easy favorites to win the national championship right now.
Yeah, not even.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, no, I would agree. They would be. That would kind of even the playing field, I guess, them in Ohio State to where, like, yeah, that could be a coin flip. God, you give Ruben Bain as a pass rusher to a Cam Ward-led offense? You kidding me?
Yeah. Bain's a stud. And they've got that awesome, I forget if he plays right or left tackle, that Mwago, whatever. He just mauls people, dude.
Yeah.
And they can run the ball with Fletcher. He's a good back. All right. Hashtag Bear Super Chat. We will pump out your mailbag questions here. Ask about the upcoming game, trade ideas, trade deadline. About a month away. So whatever you got, throw them at us. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat. I'm Harrison Graham. It is time for another Chicago Bears Now mailbag from Hibernated Bear. Got a few DMs and then YouTube comment questions about this, so I wanted to start with this one before we get to the live chat. But he said, should the Bears trade for Jeffrey Simmons? Saw Sports Illustrated predict that would happen for a second-round pick. Yeah, I did see the article. They did kind of some trade ideas and predicted Jeffrey Simmons to the Bears. Listen, I've long been a fan of Jeffrey Simmons. He kind of had a down year last year, but, high-level player like that, season kind of derails as a team. That just happens sometimes. He's been dominant this year. 3.5 sacks in 5 games. He leads defensive tackles and pressures per PFF with 25, 9 QB hits as well, has a forced fumble. He's been a man on a mission this year. He looks like the all-pro level player we saw a couple of years ago. Now, the defensive tackle position for the Bears is the deeper group with Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, Andrew Billings. You obviously drafted Shamar Turner. You've got Chris Williams. Ideally, you would add another edge, but that doesn't mean that Jeffrey Simmons would not help this team tremendously because he would instantly be your best defensive lineman. I don't think there's any question about that, especially with Montez Sweat kind of just playing at an okay level right now. Now, as far as the contract goes, it's actually pretty reasonable. If he gets traded, his cap hits the next 2 years, $20.6 million, $23 million, and $27. If you were to cut or trade him for whatever reason next year, dead money $16.4, you would save about $4 million. And then the year after that, only dead cap hit of $5 million. So he wouldn't be on the hook for a crazy amount of money. He has zero guaranteed money left from a cash flow standpoint after 2026. Now, again, if you're trading for him, you're probably keeping him long term. He's only 28. You'd probably give him like a 1 or 2 year extension in the offseason if he were to play well. He would help a lot. Now, would I just do this? I don't know. I'd be a little hesitant. I think it would depend where you're at the deadline. I wouldn't do it right now. This would be okay, let's see where we're at the deadline. Do we think that Jeffrey Simmons can push this team to being a major contender, not only this year, but maybe in the next couple of years? Because at 28, you're probably looking at like a 2 or 3 year window with a guy like that in his peak years. So, it's tough because you've paid a lot of money on your defensive line, but you haven't really gotten that production. So, like, on that standpoint, it's like, yeah, you could use a guy like this. But on the other side, it's like, kind of just need the guys you've paid to produce. So it's a tough call. Second round pick, though, is pretty reasonable. If you don't have to give up a 1 for a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, that's he's a game record. And could he get Montez Sweat going again? Like, you put him next to Sweat, can those two guys cause havoc? Maybe. That would be something you'd have to discuss really seriously with your staff. Would you trade a second round pick for Jeffrey Simmons? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, Zane Hilton, do you think Poles makes a trade? He's made a trade every year at the deadline. Even last year, he traded Khalil Herbert for a 7th. So odds are he will do something. Now, the question is, does he do the big swing? Does he trade for a Jeffrey Simmons, or does he trade away a big-name player? That remains to be seen, but based on history, I will say yes, he will make at least one move. Bear Down Productions, is Jermaine Johnson trade possible? I mean, I think any team that's struggling, that has talented players that they could look to try and get capital for, I think it's certainly possible. I'll be honest, I don't even know what Jermaine Johnson has been doing this year for the Jets. I liked him coming out. He shown some promise early in his career. He's only played in 2 games, and he has 0 sacks. Last year, he only played in 2 games, had the injury. So, like, is he just not the same player he was in 23 when he had 7.5 sacks? Looked like he was the next big thing. I don't know. Could he be like a buy low guy? You trade like a day 3 pick for him? Maybe. But I don't think that would be a move that you would expect to just like launch your defense into being much better. All right, today's show, I want to welcome a new sponsor a little bit, but that is Ethos, fast and easy life insurance. And guys and gals, life insurance is one of the most important investments you can make in your family. Now with Ethos, you can get covered and protected in minutes with rates as low as $2 per day, billed monthly. You can also get up to $3 million in coverage. As a husband and father, having life insurance is absolutely vital, and it's something I don't take for granted. Ethos is revolutionizing the insurance industry with a 100% online process, which is obviously great, and can provide protection for you and your loved ones. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. They have no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. Their 100% online and hassle-free process makes it very easy to apply. You'll get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. You can even get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. Ethos is a trustworthy company that disrupts the traditional life insurance industry. And as of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. So protect your family with life insurance from Ethos. Get up to $3 million in coverage in as little as 10 minutes at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is our code, NFL Daily, ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times may vary. Rates may vary as well. Check out Ethos today. Link is in the comments and description of this video. Okay, Jose Gonzalez, as we continue with our mailbag. Should we sign Jermaine Pratt? No interest. If the Raiders are moving on, TJ's coming back. I mean, what is he? Like, if you ask me right now, and I'm not going to act like I've watched Jermaine Pratt play a lot this year outside of the Bears game, Noah Sewell or Jermaine Pratt, I'll take Noah Sewell. I don't think the Bears need Jermaine Pratt. Savage Gorillas, would you keep Ozzie at right tackle even if Wright is back? I'm starting Darnell Wright if he's healthy. Like, I know there's been kind of this Darnell Wright sucks agenda. I couldn't disagree more. Does he have lapses of focus issues? Does he have untimely penalties at times? Yes. But he's also, to me, your best offensive tackle. And I don't want to say it's not close, but I do think there's a gap between he and the rest of the group. Like, if he's healthy, he's out there for me. Now, we can debate if he's a long-term guy you invest heavily into. We can have that discussion. But if he's healthy, I'm playing him. Whether the Bears do or not, I don't know. I do think they're frustrated with the penalties, and maybe there's some conditioning question marks. I don't know where his elbow injury sits as we film this live mailbag on Monday. By the time you're watching, maybe we have a clearer answer. But to me, he's out there if he's healthy. That's my stance. Subscribe to the channel. We have daily videos, live watch parties, and much more content, including YouTube Shorts. If you want to be in the loop on everything surrounding the Chicago Bears with the latest news, rumors, my take on things, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. Never miss an episode here on Chicago Bears Now. Mike Nintendo Master, what do we need to do to beat Washington? Well, I put out a full preview, so go check that out. But I think a couple areas I'll just mention here is you can't get demolished in the run game on both sides. Like, if you get outgained like you did against the Raiders, 240-70 or whatever it was, you're not going to beat this team. They are a much better team than the Raiders. So you got to hold your own on the ground, be a little more stingy defensively, find a little more success offensively in the run game. And you need a good performance from Caleb. I mean, period. So, I think Commander's secondary has some weaknesses. So find some big plays and don't get killed on the ground. If you struggle to run the ball and you can't stop the run, you are not going to beat this team. All right, Mike G. Should Poles be calling Miami about Achane? Would a 4th or a third-round pick do it? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know the Dolphins really like him, but, like, you wonder, okay, if they're thinking in the back of their mind of getting rid of Mike McDaniel, does that hurt Achane's value if you go into a new system? Do you just try to load up on assets? I'd be hesitant to trade a third-round pick for any running back that conceivably could be available. If you could get Achane for a fourth, I think I'd do that in a heartbeat. I think there's a world where he's top 10 back in this league. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that would be a player I'm interested in. In terms of cost, I'm hesitant to go day 2 pick there. Fourth, I'm more intrigued. Predict the score, Bears Commanders. Who you got, and what is the score going to be? My early prediction was Bears 26-24. We'll do a final preview where that score prediction is subject to change, injury updates, so on and so forth. But you guys let me know what your score predictions are. Tom Panozzo, when are the Bears draft picks going to start contributing? Well, we've seen Luther Burden contribute. Obviously, Colston Loveland needs to be more of a focal point. Hopefully, he's back and healthy this week. Ozzie Trapillo contributed last week. That was a good sign. Shamar Turner has played the last 2 weeks. How well? It's hard to say. I think he's been okay, but he's clearly a work in progress. Not getting much from Ruben Hippolyte, but he's a fourth-round kind of developmental linebacker. So, yeah, like, certainly you need to get more out of your higher draft picks, but compared to the first couple weeks, that arrow is pointing up, which is good. DC Viper, who are some trade targets and what are some offers the Bears can make? I mean, we'll continue to dive into some trades, rumors, targets, ideas as we get closer to the deadline. I mean, if they struggle to run the ball again against Washington, I think you really have to consider trading for a running back. If you're Chicago, whether that's a Breece Hall, a Devon Achane, can you get Alvin Kamara loose from New Orleans? I don't know, but that would be a guy I'd be interested in. Pass rusher, certainly. Yeah, I think I'd be looking at running back and pass rush. Those are the two areas. We could say left tackle. Like, who's a left tackle that's realistically going to be available? That's an upgrade from what you have. It probably doesn't exist. We saw Cam Robinson get traded, and I mentioned him in the preseason, but like, even if he's a slight upgrade over what you have, it's slight. It's not like it's a needle mover. So, I think that's one you're going to have to fix in the offseason if no one emerges. But you can always find a pass rusher. You can find running backs. We'll see if they address one or both of those positions. All right, appreciate all the questions. Hit us up on social media at HGramNFL, Twitter and Instagram. I was out of town this past weekend for a wedding, so I got to catch up on some DMs, but I will do that. Ask your Bears questions there. Give me a follow. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Bear down. Fish lover Markel Bell from the U looks like a stud. Thoughts? I'm not super familiar with him. Colin, do you know who he's talking about? Let me pull him up here.
I'm not going to lie. The super chat wouldn't load. I was trying to get that in the mailbag.
He's an offensive lineman. I've been focused on the other guy more, who we've talked about. Moaga, whatever the hell his name is. He's been pretty awesome, but senior starter. I mean, that Miami offensive line's been good, so I guess I'd have to look into him more. But I'm not gonna. I can't BS. I haven't keyed in on him much. It's still pretty early in the kind of draft evaluation process, so it's not like I have a top 100 board or something like that in October. I'll leave that to the guys who do it year-round, and, as we get into the offseason, I'll kind of ramp up my process more. All right, we got one more from TJ, and then we'll hop into our next segment here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the link is, but just hasn't been refreshing. So I'll
TJ,
get that in
I can just read you. TJ says, not sure what's up with the 8:08 start time. For the NLDS. That could be the MLB just trying to, stagger the NFL a little bit. If you start at 7:08, you're basically competing directly with Sunday or Monday Night Football. You're going to take the L on that one. Maybe they're thinking, okay, we'll start an hour later. Maybe if that football game gets out of hand, we get some casual football fans to turn on the baseball game. Who knows? Part of it, too, is the other game starts at 5:08, so you're trying to stagger those games. You don't want to overlap there, ideally. So, yeah, like it's tough for baseball. You're not competing with the NFL. So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you other than get your late night coffee going. Big game for the Cubs tonight. They got to win. Can't fall down 2-0. Can't fall down 2-0.
Yeah. Some of their scheduling, though, like, I feel like, never mind. That game's in Philly. I was going to say the Dodgers in Philly feels like it should be the later game, but it's in Philadelphia.
It still probably should be. Well, East Coast. At least the other game's Central, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So, I mean, hell, Seattle, Detroit tomorrow's at 3 Central Time. And that one's in Detroit, but 3 o'clock?
Yeah, but
on a Tuesday?
I will say this. Why not have – if you're going to do that, why not do that today ahead of the NFL game? Like, do a game at 3 and then do I
don't understand that.
Like, Tuesday, you should just lean into prime time because there's no football.
Yeah.
I guess there's, 3 games tomorrow, so you got to stagger them. 2? That's weird.
It's very weird, yeah.
Freaking weird. Jeremy says, I miss Devin Hester, my all-time favorite Bear. Same. Love Devin. Love Devin Hester, man.
Get him loaded up on screen.
He's my personal Bears goat because grew up watching him, but he's not a better all-time player than Walter Payton or anything. But for guys I watched, he's my favorite. Yeah. Finally got into the Hall last year, which is well-deserved. Appreciate you, Jeremy. Are we able to flash TJs, or is that just
that was just on screen.
Oh, it was? Oh,
yeah.
I'm an idiot. All right, well, one more segment to go as Breece Hall made some interesting comments today. So, could the Bears trade for him? We'll talk about it next here on Chicago Bears Now. Could the Chicago Bears trade for one Breece Hall? The Jets running back had some interesting comments on Monday now that the Jets are 0-5. And obviously the Bears' run game struggles have been well documented. So we're going to dive into this topic today, coming up next. Does Breece Hall want out of New York? My name is Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now. Hall expressed some frustrations after the Jets' 5th straight loss to start the season, and Bears fans are wondering if he could be a potential trade target given the run game issues with DeAndre Swift and company. Here's what Breece Hall had to say on Monday. He said, when asked about, could you use a fresh start? What are the frustrations right now? He said, I'm worried about winning football games. I'm not worried about having fun right now. I'm in my 4th year, and I don't have a lot of time left to prove what I want to do and who I can be in this league. At the end of the day, I'm worried about winning games. And look, from a Jets perspective, Breece Hall is in a contract year, and the Jets are going nowhere, and he's playing really well. So, to me, I would trade Breece Hall if I was the Jets. Now, we're going to get into the Bears angle of this. This is a Bears show, but just anytime we talk trades, we got to give the perspective for each team. Like, go trade for this guy. Well, does it make sense for that team? To me, it does make sense. Even with Braylon Allen injured, I get it in the short term. That would kind of put the Jets in a bind. But if I was New York, I'd be fielding calls. Breece Hall is averaging over 5 yards per carry. He is playing better than he has the last couple of years. Yeah, he's only 24 years old, but he has decent mileage. Like, is that a guy you're going to invest in if you're the Jets? Like, he's having a big year and you're 0-5. Like, you're not close to contending. Braylon Allen last year played great, and before the injury looked good. He's going to come back at some point. Like, you can lean into him. You can always find backs moving forward. Like, to me, this is not a guy you pay if you're the Jets based on where you're at. Sure, you could try to play the comp pick formula game, but if they sign more players than they let go in free agency, which they probably will because they're a shitty team, then they won't even get a comp draft pick. So if you could get something for Breece Hall, wouldn't you trade him if you're the Jets? And from the Bears' perspective, which we're going to dive into in a sec, I want to ask you guys first, should the Bears go out and trade for Breece Hall? Type T for trade or P for pass. Put on your Ryan Poles GM cap on. What would you do if you were the Chicago Bears? Now, you look at his career numbers adding in this year. The last couple of years, he was good, but kind of like you were wanting more, right? Remember, like, after his rookie year, midway through his second year, it's like this guy should take off. And again, he was good. Maybe it was just the Jets were a joke, but you never saw him take that next step. Kind of feels like he's doing that this year. And we'll outline his on-pace stats here in a moment, but he's always been a good receiving back as well. Last couple years, averaging over 500 receiving yards, and again, that's in bad offenses. This year has 17 catches in 5 games, again, in a bad offense. It seems like he has that juice back, and you're seeing that in the yards per carry. Now, I'll give the Jets some credit. They're doing some things in the run game that's working. Obviously, as Bears fans know, when Justin Fields is your quarterback, you're going to have some success as a running team, so I do think that's helped a little bit as well. But Breece Hall, that last year felt kind of slow. He doesn't feel slow this year. He feels like he's fully healthy and playing well. And if you look at his on-pace 17-game stats, 1,200 rushing yards, 500 receiving yards, I mean, is that a top 8 back in the NFL? Top 10? Probably. Like, is he that long-term? I don't know. I do know this. I think he's better than what you got, for sure. And if you say, well, Swift, he can hit the home run, Breece Hall kind of can too. And he's more physical between the tackles. He can also catch the ball. I think he would be a clear upgrade. Now, what would it cost? Should the Bears do it? We'll explore that next here on Chicago Bears Now, as Breece Hall could be a name that emerges between now and the trade deadline. But before we do that, we got to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor, Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS to get signed up at the best daily fantasy sports app out there. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I've been right a lot recently on Prize Picks. I'm up over $500 this season, which I feel very, very good about. What I also like with Prize Picks is that they are the only app that offers stacks, meaning you could pick the same player up to 3 times in your Prize Picks lineup. If you want to pick the more on Caleb Williams' pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, you can do so right now. All in one lineup, only on Prize Picks. Speaking of Caleb Williams, got a little 2-player lineup for you guys. I like the more on his rushing yards. This is a big game going up against Washington. I think he'll use his legs to pick up some key first downs. 24.5 rushing yards. I like the more. I like Deebo Samuel to score for Washington as well. That's a demon play, tougher to hit. So usually 2-player entries are 3 times your money, but this one you get 3 in, get a little more. $20 entry to win. I believe $70 here. And Terry McLaurin may not play, so Deebo's the number 1 target there. So like that play. I'll be filling out some more lineups, but that's just one of many examples. 2 or more players, up to 6-player lineups with Prize Picks. Pick more or less. And if you hit, you win money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, so should the Bears trade for Breece Hall or not? Here's what I'll say. If the Bears go into Washington and have a poor performance again on the ground, not in general because I think the offense has actually been pretty good, but on the ground, I think you got to start making calls, whether it's to the Jets for Breece Hall, whether it's to another team for a different back. I think you at least have to start poking around if you're Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, because Ben Johnson is too smart of an offensive mind and has too much of a proven track record for this to be a bad running attack. It just is. Just look at the numbers. You're barely scratching 100 yards per game, and that's with Caleb being a good scrambler this year. The running backs, less than 3.5 yards per carry through 4 games. Not good. You only have 2 rushing touchdowns among your backs. Caleb has 1 as well, so that's 3 total. But that's just not good enough through 4 games either. DeAndre Swift, and we'll get to Ben Johnson's quote in a second. I don't think it's all on him, but you're still only getting 3.3 yards per carry out of him. Remember how slow he started last year? He's actually started slower this year in some aspects, which is obviously a concern. I do think the run blocking has been questionable a lot of times. So, again, I'm not trying to bury Swift here, but I do think you should be getting more production. Here's what Ben Johnson said before the bye week on the run game struggles. He said, I don't think our running game struggles were a reflection of DeAndre. He's a guy that continues to run the ball very hard, even though the yards per carry aren't where any of us want to be right now. He's as frustrated as anybody. He's very prideful in what he can do and what he brings to the table. Okay, Ben, bye week has come and gone. You play Washington, who's a middle-of-the-pack run defense. You should have at least some level of success on the ground. And if you don't, regardless of who's to blame, and the pie chart, it's not going to be 100% one thing. It's not going to be coaching fully. It's not going to be Swift fully. It's not going to be offensive line fully. It's going to be a combination. But regardless, if you get more of the same, DeAndre Swift, 17 carries, 49 yards or whatever, like, I'm sorry. Like, I have to try to change something up. Like, you're not going to – what are you going to do, change your offensive line? Like, sure, schematically you should change some things. And, again, coming off the bye week, I would imagine there's some new wrinkles in the run block scheme. But if it's more of the same and it's underwhelming and you're under 3.5 yards per carry again, like, I got to try to upgrade at running back if I'm serious about winning this year. If not, like, if you don't want to make that move, okay, fine, whatever. But I just, like, at some point, something has to give. And changing the running backs kind of seems like the easiest option, does it not? Now, certainly you should start internal with Kyle Monungai, but if he's not ready for a full-time role, then maybe making a call to the Jets for Breece Hall is. So here's my idea. 5th-round pick for Breece Hall. I think the Jets would ask for a 3rd or a 4th. No chance in hell I'm giving a day 2 pick for an expiring running back contract who the Jets are very unlikely to pay. 4th, you could talk me into a 4th. I would probably start with the 6th as my offer, and then I'd try to settle for a 5. I think that would be maybe a 5, throw a future 7 in there or something like that, a 7 in 2027 if they need to sweeten the pot a little bit, something like that. I could stomach a 4th, if I felt really good if I was Ben Johnson about Breece Hall elevating this offense, but I think it fit this fair because, again, I don't think the Jets are going to pay him. I don't think he's a guy that they're going to get an elite comp pick for because I think they're going to be spenders in free agency next year. So I think a 5th is kind of fair. Like, I just do. So that's what my offer would be for Breece Hall if I was Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson. So would you do that trade? 5th-round pick for Breece Hall? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Again, today I'm not doing it. I want to see how the running attack looks coming out of the bye week. If there are good notable signs and notable tangible improvement, okay, let's give it another week, see how it goes. And maybe you write it out closer to the deadline. Then you kind of have the data of before the bye week and the data after the bye week, have about 4 games each. Then you can make a decision. But if it's ugly on Monday night, I'm making calls on Tuesday. Like, I'm starting to make calls on Tuesday if I am Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson. Some other names just to keep on your radar that are notable. Devon Achane, the Dolphins are a mess. They could go into a fire sale here. Alvin Kamara, I know the Saints have been feisty. They've been playing better recently. He loves it there, so he would certainly have to approve of a trade, I would think, but he could be a guy that maybe gets loose. Tyler Algier, I know the Falcons like him, but also an expiring contract there in Atlanta. They're going to have to pay Bijan soon. So, like, are they paying Algier as well? Like, he's a starting capable back. Like, if you get a pick for him, maybe that makes more sense if you're the Falcons. And then I threw Chase Brown in there. Cincinnati's just a mess. He's having a down year. Their O-line's been disaster. Could you buy low on a guy that finished last year really well, played his college ball at Illinois? So the Bears front office and scouts should have had a close-up look at him. So just another name that could circulate over the next couple of weeks. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Hopefully the Bears running game just improves, but if it doesn't, I think some phone calls may have to be made for a Breece Hall or someone else. We'll continue to monitor the situation and bring you content every single day, so don't forget to subscribe. And as always, bear down. All righty. Cool. It's a good question coming in from Andres. Got a couple super chats we'll hit on the way out.
Yeah.
Signing off soon, so if you guys want to stick around, send in some super chats. Otherwise, we'll call it a day here in a second. He said, when can we expect the Bears to make a trade? So let me actually pull up NFL trade deadline date. November 4th. So you're 4 weeks away. I think it's 4 weeks from tomorrow. That's right. 4 weeks from tomorrow, Tuesday, November 4th. Typically, trades happen more closer to the deadline, but I do wonder if it's abysmal on the ground Monday night, if they would start to, like, poke around. Like, could a trade, especially if you're trying to salvage this season from a running game standpoint. So, late October, that first couple of days in November, obviously trade deadline day, Enixon, but, it wouldn't shock me if something happened sooner than that. So, we'll have to wait and see. Typically, it's closer to the deadline, but circumstances can change that timeline. Andres, if you get Breece, do you just shop or cut Swift then? If you like Monungai, I don't know if you keep Swift as RB2. It's certainly possible. I mean, would the Jets want Swift back? they might be willing to take him back just because Braylon Allen's hurt. He has no guaranteed money after this year. So if you're the Jets, you could kind of just view it as like he helps us get through the season. If he plays great, cool. We'll keep him on his third year next year. If not, we can cut him easily. Maybe that's kind of the offer. You give a fifth in Swift, so they at least get it back in return. That could certainly be the case. You could also just keep Swift, and he's your 2, and Monangai continues to kind of develop, and you don't lean on him as a major contributor as a rookie. Like, I don't think Monangai has to have a major role this year. I want to see him play more, but if you trade for a running back, like, chances are that guy is going to have a bigger role anyway. So you would have different options, Andres. I don't think you'd flat out cut him in the middle of the year. I still think Swift brings something to the table, and it doesn't really make sense to cut him until next year when you actually get cap relief. So, I think you would either just keep him, he'd be in the rotation, or maybe he goes to the Jets back in that trade, or maybe you flip him in a separate trade for something else. Maybe, you trade a fifth for Breece Hall. Maybe you can get a seventh for DeAndre Swift, and at least from a volume of draft picks, you have the same amount. Who knows? So, detached.
Or it's Daniel Lawson.
sorry.
I'd like to add one of our running backs into the trade.
Yeah, I think Swift would be that guy. I don't think Roshan has any value, so I don't know why the Jets would want him. And I don't think you're trading Monangai. So, I think if they want to take Swift back, that's what, you'd be cool with that, I would think. Maybe not. Maybe they look at Swift like, hey, we still want him here to be a part of this rotation. But yeah, Swift could go back in a trade if the Jets were willing to take him. I mean, you could do this trade and just throw Swift in there. Like, would you do that? I mean, I'd probably be open to that. Like, if you're asking me, would I rather trade a fourth for Hall straight up or a fifth in Swift? I'd probably rather trade a fifth in Swift. Because at this rate, you're cutting Swift in the offseason if there's not big improvement.
Yep.
Don't you think? Just
agree.
given the salary cap relief. So,
Yep.
Make that trade. If Hall hits the ground running here, you extend him in the offseason. If not, you play out free agency and you see how it goes. Yeah, that would be my mindset. So, all right. Well, thanks for all the questions. Good stuff. Great to be back in the studio after a few days off, and game week is back once again. So plenty of content to come. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Got still over 400 people watching live. That is awesome. We will be back with some videos tomorrow. We'll be back live on Thursday. So stay tuned for that. And Cubs fans out there, big game tonight. We'll see if they can even the series with the Milwaukee Brewers. Shout out to Colin for producing. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We still got All Injustice, Inception, Cheyenne, Pizzatola, Walter, Daniel, Lacora, Reality, Straight Smoke, Dave, Kirk, Andres, Daniel Lawson, Ron Winarski, Patrick, Chris, Robert D., Gail Collins, Tim, Ezekiel Zane, Mr. Blonde, JJ, Daniel, Chris, Braxton, trying to shout out everybody here. Can't get to everyone. In Peril, Denny Inquist, Michael, JJ, Andrew. You guys are awesome. We are out of here. Peace out and bear down.